recording. I know that the ruling was that he must complete a D2 apprenticeship program or obtain a math license, or 2 or 3. But would it be appropriate with something like this to step back, to be consistent, to see if he qualifies due to equivalent experience and training? And I'm just wondering what I'm missing, because I understand that he should have done the apprenticeship. I totally 1000% get that. And maybe that's a different issue than the fact that he's been working since 2013. So he's got 10 years of work, and he graduated from Norwich Technical High School. So I'm just wondering, is he not qualified due to that in and of itself, or no?
Can we just verify that Anthony Velez? He says he has an S1 license. Can we just look him up and verify he has a license?
Yeah, and I mentioned that before. Yeah, I mean that's who it states here. But in my conversation with him, he's been working in Mass, and he has the equivalent, and he can't be here to ask that question. So I guess I'm kind of asking, for him.
But the problem is he doesn't have a license.
Well, but what about anybody else coming from Mass if they don't have a license?
Can we stop here? Which letter are you talking about? The first one on the first PDF, the guy says Anthony Velez, he has an S1 license, and he's been working side by side with Stop. So can we just look up Anthony Velez?
I'm doing that right. I'm doing that right now, Richard. I just can't go that fast. They don't go as fast as you. L-E-Z.
The problem I have here, and this is just me, in the letter from Anthony Velez, he says he's not been enrolled in the apprenticeship program because ESI is based out of Mass. And does that mean they don't have any refrigeration licenses in Massachusetts? I think that's a problem.
No, they don't have until it's like 10 tons or more. Then they require refrigeration licenses. It's either 10 or 15, it's either 10 or 15 tons or more of refrigeration, and the licensing law kicks in.
Tony Velez has a license since 2008. He's got an S1.
Right, but he's working at CS, Starbucks, Verizon, T-Mobile, Cumberland Farms. So this
And he's
Velez guy since 2008, correct?
He's had the S1 since 2008, and he had the S2 before that.
And this kid is a full-time trade school grad. He gets 1 year credit for going to school, and all school-related instruction is considered done for an S2 type license. So my vote is to approve him to sit for the D2 exam.
But he's got the additional 2 years of work experience when that.
Well, if he wants to go for the S2, he's got to get registered.
No,
I mean, if we bend I understand, but he's not going to stop at a D2, Richard.
Well, that's up to him. He doesn't have the work experience so far from the statements I see. And his employer gave him an opportunity. He wants an opportunity to sit for the D2 license. I don't know why the kid put D1. I would approve him for the D2.
Where are you at with this thing?
He has the education for D2, I would agree.
Okay, I won't give him a D1. I'll approve him for a D2. And if he wants to upgrade down the road, he's got to get registered.
Right, because he needs different hands-on experience to go for the S2.
Well,
all right.
But he's not even asking for the S2. He's asking for the D1. So
we're talking out of turn.
I'm not, and I don't have an opinion either way. I'm just, when he says to me, why can't I go for the D1? I think the rule was here is, and Paulette, can correct me if I'm wrong, that above and beyond qualifying for the journey person type, if they have another 2 years of work experience, then they're qualified for the contractor type. And I just want to be consistent. So is that a factor in this or no? I just don't understand why we're stopping at the D2. And if whatever the reason is, I just want to be able to let them know.
Well, he's not even explaining that he's working in a journey person capacity. He's just working with other people.
But he has for 10.
And Massachusetts doesn't have a journeyman's license for him unless he gets the refrigeration license up there, if he's working on systems over the tonnage. So he hasn't really, I don't really see yet where he's shown, journey person time. For all I know, they're always treating him as a helper because they also have helper classification up there.
If I look at Paulette's,
As the employer,
does the applicant have equivalent or comparable education?
the licensed employer says he recommends him for the D2. So that's what he's been vouched for.
Okay, so if he says, when can I go? When can I reapply? What about the D1? What should I tell him?
In 2 years.
Okay.
We're not, this is opening up a huge can of worms because the guy doesn't have any license. So what reciprocity would we have?
Well, we don't really have
That's
any, we don't have clarification what is actual, working in a journey person capacity. That's his argument he's going to have to make. So maybe when he passes D2, he can elaborate on so-called journey person working independently as a journey person in Massachusetts.
So when he passes the D2, he has the opportunity to send in a D1 and start from scratch, a new D1 application and start from scratch.
And ask for consideration of 2 years of the waiver time due to the fact that he can establish proof that he's worked in the journey person capacity in another state.
Right.
Okay.
The only dilemma I have, does he have gas experience?
Well, that is a good question. But he went to full-time trade school grad, so he has it.
It is in classroom, Rich, school is one thing. Out in the field is different.
Yep. Well, that could
I think
be,
we're stretching it.
that could be, I understand where you're coming from. So,
Rod, are you comfortable with the D2?
This applicant has a proper education for a D2.
All right, a D2 approved for, denied the D1. It's if he wants to change his application.
Okay.
okay.
And then, so I'm just writing it down tonight. D1 approved for the D2. There is a somewhat similar, I had in my notes, situation. I don't know if you want to jump in. Christian Rodriguez, who was on the second page. While we're talking about this type of situation, can we talk about that one for a minute? Would it make sense, or you want to go right down the line? It's up to you.
No, we'll get back to Kisco, but thank you.
Okay.
Let's Michael Iferti, I believe is his name. And 2-1, we denied the S1, approved for an OE2 with change in category, also qualified to sit for the D1 exam because he has a D. Is that correct, Richard?
Yeah,
So
I was looking. He's
I
applying
am denied for the
right. I would approve him for the D1 if he's had the D2 for 2 years.
I believe he already has been.
So,
And I don't see,
he's still,
I really don't see, I mean, he could be with local 30, but maybe all he did was chill water systems and refrigeration. He has one boiler certificate. And I thought
he's an operating.
I thought we got extra information from local 30 fully explaining their program, but
You know what, Richard, you did, and I know what you're thinking of. I think it was for, what you're thinking of is another applicant that we have on this list by the last name of Saxon, and that is because I mean, Ifrity, however you say, is on this list because he requested that he wants to appeal the decision, and he requested to speak to a review panel. But there's also an underlying issue with the last guy that is similar to the last guy by the name of Saxon, who's on one of the last pages. You know, that is similar in that we've got that's probably what you're thinking of, Richard. Steve Broderick sent in emails, and he's trying to kind of make a case to explain why this guy Derek Saxon would like an OE2, and that's who you're thinking of.
Yeah.
But the
So
thing
I
is,
say this, I mean, so the curriculum outline that Local 30 sent in for whoever it was, it doesn't matter. It applies to anybody who completed their program. I thought that's what they sent in,
Yeah,
this whole explanation of their 3-year program.
and it's under Saxon, yeah.
Okay. But in the meantime,
an operation.
yeah,
It's just for an OE2 class. It's not for an S class.
right. So on this guy here, Michael Iperti, my vote would be denied S1, approved for D1.
Yes, I have no problem with that.
We
How about
already
you?
told him that so if you look at the last ruling from February, denied S1, approved for the OE2 with a change in category, and he's also qualified for the D1.
Correct.
Okay, so this is what I need to know when somebody says, I'm appealing this decision, can I speak to somebody? And this may not be the people that I'm speaking to right now. So at this point, I'm not sure what to do. No, you'll never be able to get an S1 with these qualifications. Forget it.
Well,
That's it.
I don't think you should really get that involved with these people. You should just give them
Richard
the
is
answer.
emailing me and saying, can I talk to
Can I
somebody?
finish
I'm
speaking?
sorry.
I think what you should do is say, the last working group meeting approved you for the D1 or the OE2, whichever you choose, and denied you for the S1. If you want the S1, you have to show proof of equivalent S2 apprenticeship completion and obtain the S2 first.
Okay, so there's no avenue in which for him to talk to somebody.
He can just send in more documentation and we'll take it up at the next meeting.
Well, the dilemma is we were told that we're not allowed to do that. So,
Well, they can always send in more information.
I don't think he has any more to send. He simply just wants to talk to somebody. But if he can't, he can't. I'll just tell him there's no avenue to speak to anybody else.
I didn't know they couldn't talk to anybody. I don't know where that's coming from, but
I have to check. This is Paula. I know that we've had, remember the elevator case, Richard?
yeah.
That it was, but that applicant had gone before the full board and they denied it, and then it went up to the commissioner. So I have to review the statutes and regs to see what the appeal process would be if someone is denied, if their application is denied, if there is one. So I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
I'll take a look at that.
But in the meantime,
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
But in the meantime, we could approve this guy for the D1 or the OE2 if he chooses, and then see what he says. He might say the D1's fine,
True.
All right, so Paula, you let me know. I mean,
Yes.
I'm looking at his email where he says I'd rather proceed in that direction and appeal this decision. So I'll leave it up to somebody to let me know what you say to someone that.
Yeah. Can you forward me his email?
Yeah.
all right, let me just get back to some things here. Richard, if I'm not mistaken, if we denied an application, they would appear before the entire board. We used to do that, Richard.
Correct. I know.
Now we no longer do that because of the MOU?
I don't know. That's what Paulette's got to look into, because we were having people come before us on these meetings,
Great.
and then somewhere along the way, Karen said we're not allowed to do that anymore. And I didn't really grasp the whole
Pam
thing.
told me that the commissioner stated that that they're not to come before this meeting. This is supposed to be
so that
more of
was
an informal type of thing. It was never meant for people to appear, but I I'm not saying they should or they shouldn't, but that leaves to me, that leaves a big gaping hole. As much as I can have 15 conversations and that's it, they don't have anybody else in, above this level to speak to say, I want to appeal it. I mean,
Yeah, let me I'll double check. And I think there is an appeal before they can go before the board, but let me just double check. I think
Okay.
that
I
sounds
think
right.
The commissioner might have gotten the impression that everybody that's applying to us is appearing right away,
Right.
that it hasn't been reviewed or denied, or we didn't suggest other license types or tell them what else they could send in to beef it up. So I think she got the impression a lot of people were appearing at these meetings when they don't have to come at all because we might approve 99% of them, So I think that was a miscommunication of some sort. So let Paulette look into what they could have the opportunity to do.
All right, but just so you're aware, Paulette, we used to do that
No, I understand.
because we didn't.
And it, great. Yep.
I'm not sure where all of the rules are changing here, but we need to get a grasp on this because this is not going to end pretty. Okay.
And I
so
don't recall
going
seeing anything in the MOU that says that there's anything about there not being an appeal to the board. So I will just double check and I'll get back to everybody.
In a working group, you mean?
Yes.
Right. All right. I can't pronounce this next one. Gasparovich. I don't know.
Okay, Anthony Gasparovich has a New Jersey and 2 New York County license, and he wants an S1. He has Rockland County, Putnam County, and has a Bachelor of Science in Industrial Engineering. And I'm not sure what the New Jersey license covers because I don't recall getting any information on that one. Maybe it did come, but I don't recall it.
Yeah, the Rockland County one says air conditioning only. And then Master HVAC in Putnam. I don't know. That could be a warm air, cool air license, like a D1.
do we have in our approved list Putnam County HVAC journey person license is equivalent to the S2?
Which one?
Putnam County HVAC journey person license.
Oh, it is equivalent
Is that what this
from
guy
previous?
has? That's what I have on the list.
Okay. I don't know why he sends us all this engineering crap. How to obtain a master plumbing mechanical trades license? Where is this from? Doesn't say where it's from.
Yeah, master plumbing. That's from Putnam, where the application is included. Their HVAC refrigeration, 7 years of experience. Heating, 7 years of experience.
He also is a professional engineer, Rich.
Yeah.
The ones that I don't have any knowledge on is, and we should try to find out, Karen, is master HVAC contractor. What are their requirements? Some of these places could just be certificates.
Right.
You mean from Putnam?
Well,
What am I missing?
Other towns, I don't know what New Jersey covers.
Right.
yeah. New Jersey HVACR license, New Jersey, 2012.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully when we start getting more information out there, which it seems like we're making a lot of progress, and it will say don't submit this application if you have an out-of-state license and you're not, and you need, without, more information on your out-of-state license or it won't be processed. I mean, that's the next step with that.
Well, I would approve them for the license.
S1 or S2?
S1.
Is that now a requirement by DCP that we honor that?
Well, we had already voted on that license type being acceptable to the, what, Karen, S2 only?
Yeah.
It was a master's, and we said your
What-
list as masters.
It says Putnam County HVAC journey person license.
Oh, but this guy has a master's.
Thanks, man.
Rockland County definitely is limited to air conditioning, apparently. See, for the masters in Putnam County, we don't have a description of what the scope of work is, and we don't have it for New Jersey. It says how to obtain a master plumbing mechanical trades license on a document, but it doesn't say where that got cut and paste from. What jurisdiction? Oh, down below it says Putnam County out online
Yeah,
2005-21.
yeah.
It says 7 years experience just to sit for the exam.
Any apprenticeship, any schooling requirements?
I don't know. I wish he would show some education. But he probably spent all his time getting his master's of business administration for some reason. He does have a fireman in charge boiler license, but that's operating engineer type. Well, I think I would like to see education directly related to the
Alright.
S2 apprenticeship program.
And is that primarily from New Jersey?
From wherever the education was. Yep.
He does have a Putnam County HVAC journey person's if he has a journey person license, that's an S2.
Correct.
And he does have a Putnam County master license.
Okay. I mean, so we could deny the S1, approve him for the S2, but then if you do that, then you're saying he does have proper school-related instruction, and he just needs 2 years journey person's experience, which he definitely has from the paperwork that he showed here. So he should be approved for the S1.
Can we request additional information regarding New Jersey's requirements and classes? I don't think he's
Sure.
far off. I just want to get some additional background.
Did we ask for that, Karen, from New Jersey?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Huh?
I'll do that, yeah.
All right, let's do that. And then we'll put him back on the next agenda.
Okay, so he's currently denied.
Well, he's tabled until the next meeting. Additional documentation on the license requirements for the state of New Jersey. That sound right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so the next guy we have is Zachary Cochran. And Zachary wants an S1. He has a B3 and an S9. He has a Rhode Island pipe fitter, journeyman, master, Rhode Island RM1 refrigeration master, Massachusetts oil burner, and he went to Lincoln Tech. I don't see any additional classes to justify to go to an S2. I don't see any apprenticeship for an S2. I don't see the classes for an S2.
Bob, for clarification, Lincoln Tech is approved and all the classes that this gentleman took are under the guise
Okay.
of an S2. So that's for clarification.
That's good. Now, do we need apprenticeship? Because it looks like he's in business for himself. Whose license did he work under to go to the S2, and was he registered as an apprentice?
Well, he's an S9 holder, right? Zachary's an S9 holder, which is the same
Yeah.
as the S1, except for the limitation on the heat and the cooling side.
Yeah,
And
and looks like
he went through a full S2 school-related instruction program.
Mhm.
I just want to see where he's doing boilers, high pressure steam, etc.
well, he's a gas service technician for anywhere from 4 to 5 years. He worked for Osterman, he worked for Suburban. He, for 1 year, not even 1 year, yeah, for a little over a year, he worked for 72 Degrees in Baltic, Connecticut. He was a HVAC technician in Webster, Massachusetts from 9/18 to 5/2009. That was 6 months. That lasted a while. Not much. I don't see anything in here indicating he would have any steam.
I don't see anything either. I mean, and he might be surprised is that S9 is probably the largest systems he would ever work on. I don't see what he's doing here. He got the B3 oil burner license. I mean, that shows he's worked on any size burners, presumably. But and all these contractors that he worked for really don't show steam and boiler installation. They're all HVAC or propane companies.
I think
They all
he's got an interesting collection of licenses and credentials. As someone who has the same credentials, and not, from the director of apprenticeship standpoint, but from a craftsperson, I believe that this person would qualify for a D1, not an S for that matter. They have a D1 and an S9. He carries those two and drops his B3. He can work on pretty much anything. Am I right, Richard?
Well, no, he doesn't need the D1. Well, the S9 covers him up to 35-ton air conditioning units for refrigeration. So he has a license that covers everything under the sun that an S1 would, except he can't work on any size boilers or steam system.
Right.
And he doesn't show any documentation from anything, even up to credentials, saying he ever had exposure doing boiler systems in schools or boiler systems on power plants or anything like that. I just don't see work experience here.
That I agree with.
You know, he might have by default have all the education, but
Yes, he does.
I do not see work experience for large boiler heating systems.
And neither do I. So from a
Neither
craft
do I.
licensed craft person standpoint, he's got everything but the steam and boiler work for the S category.
Right.
But on the, you know, from the director of apprenticeship side, he does have all the education for an S license. So,
You know,
Right,
I mean,
but he doesn't.
if he listed a company here that did large scale boiler systems, it'd be one thing, but you know,
Well, the other thing, guys, is he's not registered in Connecticut for an S2. He needs one more year. Did you supposed to work under an S2 an S1 license holder to get your license? Is that correct?
right, or have equivalent experience, but I don't see where he has unlimited heating experience. That's what he would need. And I don't see it. He doesn't even list a company name that I recognize that does large scale heating systems, you know?
Yeah.
All
right, so we have them.
I would say lack of on-the-job training, installing high pressure steam systems and large boilers, you know?
Well, I think we need to deny him for two reasons: lack of OJT and lack of apprenticeship.
Or lack of having the S2 first. But he still needs the OJT on large heating systems.
Right, but he needs someone. He's supposed to be registered in Connecticut.
Well, yeah,
So
to get his work experience, he's probably gonna have to go work for an S1 if that's what he really wants to do.
Right. I mean, now we're letting people just because they want to do it. No, that's a problem. So I have him down as denied.
I'm the same way. I don't see the work experience needed.
All right. So Karen, lack of OJT and lack of apprenticeship registration. Okay, Michael Gravel.
Hold on one second, please. If he wants to pursue it, what can he do? What can he send in? We're looking
He
for.
needs to get work experience doing large scale heating systems and high pressure steam systems.
And he needs to be registered as an S2 apprentice.
Right, if he wants to go out and acquire that experience.
And so if for some reason he came up with a letter saying that he worked with a large scale heating systems and high pressure systems, he still wouldn't be able to be.
For not less than 2
approved.
years. Right, he has to have at least 2 years experience doing.
So say he
you know,
came up with that letter, he would be approved then without.
Well, we'll have to read it,
Apprenticeship?
see what the dates and duties are on it. We'll
Okay.
have to read what
Okay.
systems he's talking about.
Okay.
A lack of on-the-job training and lack of registration.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Karen. Michael Gravel, Connecticut, wants an S1. He has a S2 and a D2. Wants the time wave. Is there a hardship here that we missed?
Karen, when did he actually get his S2? On 12/20 of 21, like it says on the license?
Yep.
So he only has maybe 3 months on the S2.
Right.
I would think he'd have to hold the S2 for at least 1 year. Then you can give him journey person time because he has a D2.
I was going to say in the past it had been counted in certain circumstances that the fact that he has got since he's been a journey person. I know not as an S2, but he's been a journey person since 2008, and in the past that had counted for.
Right, only up to a
All right,
certain amount. Only up to a certain amount.
Yep. This guy, you got to read the letters afterwards, okay? And I don't know if you guys seen it, but to whom it may concern, my name is Michael Gravel. I'm working Hartford Hospital, and I have a side business. I want to take my business to the next level and make it full time. I recently took and passed the S2, currently in process of getting my CDL. I am aware that the state requires wait for 2 years and you can go for a contractor's license, hoping I can get an exemption. I have held the D2 for 14 years and get for the D1. I don't see the hardship here. I think he's just working part of the system to get himself to go into business.
Well, I would recommend he's approved for the D1 exam. And if he holds his S2, works with as an S2 holder for at least 2 years, then we would reconsider letting him sit for the S1.
Well, that's the law. No big deal. We deny the S1, and you can get the D1 if you would like. Okay, so I have him down as deny.
Okay, so he's basically got to wait the full 2 years for the S2. I mean, to get the S1. That's what I meant.
There's something else about this one that I can't put my finger on it. I don't know how he got approved for the S2, but I think we helped out on that one, and I'm not reluctant to help out a little bit too much. Okay, David Matat from Massachusetts. He wants an SM2 and he has a Mass license, unrestricted license in Massachusetts.
Hang on, I gotta blow this picture up. For some reason, it's not. I can barely
He
read
was
it.
with the local, he was with the local union number 63. And
But
he's completed proofs.
But he's a sheet metal and he's applying for what?
He's licensed in Massachusetts for sheet metal worker, and he wants an SM2 in Connecticut.
Oh, all right. I got it.
I have him as a.
I would approve him too.
Is
He
that
has
equivalent
an
license?
unrestricted one.
Are they equivalent, the Mass sheet metal and our
The
SM2?
unrestricted Mass sheet metal journeyman's license is the same as our SM2.
Yeah, it is. We have it on your equivalent license sheet, Karen. Thank you for putting that together.
Okay. All right.
But it's gotta
Oh,
say
you-
unrestricted.
Okay, and those are just as Mass sheet metal license, so I will put unrestricted on there, but you're right, it is on the list.
Because we have a limited residential one too, like Mass.
He's approved?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, Christian Rodriguez is from New York. He wants a D2. He has no license, no DOL, no apprenticeship, lack of school. He works for Mount Kisco Mechanical and has several licenses.
Oh, he's got
Well,
schooling through Boise's. I know I'm not saying it right. The New York program, 300
Yeah.
hours.
300-hour course. Air conditioning, refrigeration, and heating technology. So he's good for the D2 in my mind. Plus he got all
Christian Rodriguez.
Pardon me?
Yeah, I think it's the
But
last
the-
page.
Oh, you're right. I made a mistake. Well, wait a minute. The certified technician, is that New York or Nate?
Not
That's the Nate approval, not New York.
But I think it's the last page of his application. They do that a lot. They put the most important thing on the last page in the sentence. It's the last page has the Boise's certificate for the 300 hours.
Right, but here's my dilemma here, okay? Mount Kisco has Westchester license, a Putnam license, a Rockland license, and a Connecticut license, so they know the rules. Why wasn't this kid registered?
registered for
And
what?
he has 20 Connecticut license.
Well, he's in Bedford Hills, New York.
Right, well then why does he need the Connecticut license?
Because they work over the line. That's just over the line from us.
Okay, shouldn't he be registered if he's working in Connecticut?
Well, we don't know he's working in
ask-
Connecticut. he's showing his work experience here, and you have to presume it's from Mount Kisco, New York. Westchester County.
That's one of the questions that I wanted to ask you guys as a group, because it seems to be that it's getting convoluted with, and not just with this group, with other groups that, okay, this isn't right and we know it's not right and it's upsetting to everybody, and I'm not downplaying it that they did not get registered. However, if they have the equivalent experience and training, like this guy may, how are we handling that? Are we, you know what I mean? Are we saying, okay, anyway, even though I'm not downplaying, but no, he was not registered, well, maybe he should have been. We've got some other scenarios like that coming up in the plumbing board too, and that's something that I'm confused about how we're handling that.
Well, I think
Welcome
Christian Rodriguez should be approved for the D2 exam based upon going through the tech school system in Western and Southern Westchester, BOCES school system, and his work experience equates to sitting for the D2 exam.
All right, so then we have to deny the S1. Oh, no, he wants the D2. Okay. All right. So you think we should approve him, Richard?
I would. It's 300 hours. We're 288, and plus he has work experience from a company out there. So,
what are your thoughts?
Well, he's got- Pardon?
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts?
Yep.
He's got 22,000 hours according to what he has, and he has, like Richard said, the 300 hours. I don't have a problem with the D, but originally I wrote down it was an S, so I wrote that incorrectly. But so I don't have a problem with that. But if he gets a Connecticut license and he decides he's going to do all his work in New York and not get registered in Connecticut, then I'm getting to have a problem because they're circumventing our requirements.
I don't think the company wants to send him across the border unless he has a Connecticut license in his pocket.
That's correct.
And then once he has a Connecticut license, he wouldn't need to get registered, right? Is that the point of what you're saying?
If
he can
he
bypass
decides
it?
to go, if he goes from a D2 to an S2, he needs to have the apprentice because now he's complying with Connecticut law.
Right.
It's a fine line. It's not fun.
But he wouldn't get the
Todd, what are
S2 that easily, because we'd say we want to see the S2 work experience and education. He probably doesn't have it, so that wouldn't happen, right?
Anyway, he's applying for the D2. I approve him for the D2.
Todd, your thoughts?
You agree with D2 as well, Bob?
I do.
All right, me too.
But to get, then again, in the back of your minds, you got to remember if he goes for the S2, it's a problem.
Well, you're gonna
You know.
cross the bridge when it comes, right? So everyone voted on the D2.
Right.
Cross the bridge when it comes.
The
I gotta
bridge-
go, guys. I gotta go.
I gotta
All right.
take off too in 15 minutes.
No, I have a meeting at 1 o'clock.
I have one at 1:30.
I have one at 1:30 with you too. So see you later. Bye, Bob. Bye, Todd. Bye, Janina. Bye, Karen. Bye.
Bye.
All right, so Christian Rodriguez is approved.
Yep.
Okay,
All right.
Michael Hughes.
I approve him.
Michael Hughes wants a G8. All the documentation appears to be in order.
Yep.
Yep.
He's approved.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Levi Andrew wants a G8
Yep.
from Missouri. Same thing. They're from Sinbro. Richard, was Sinbro the company that we had that big lawsuit with many, many years ago?
Easy. Yeah, I had to go to the National Labor Relations Board.
Ah, see?
Yeah,
I-
Richard, remember that, Mr. Hurlbert? I
Hey,
remember that.
Hate to be a jerk. We got a lot on our plate here too, and I've got 30 minutes as well.
Okay. Benjamin Noonan wants a G8.
Yep.
He's
Good.
also approved.
Yep.
James Blanchett wants a G8.
Yep.
He has the documentation. I have him approved.
Yep.
Alex Benj wants a G8. He has documentation. I have him approved. And you'll notice, Richard, because you did all of this work, Sinbro is finally figuring it out.
Well, it was quite a hassle, but they got all squared away. I never see them screw up anymore. Plus they have apprenticeship program in Connecticut, so.
Thank you, Richard. Trevor Martin wants a G8, but we got no cover letter from anybody. Don't we need a cover letter from the employer at Allstate Construction for this?
He's got his certs, let him go.
Yeah, he does have his cert and they signed off on it, right? Yeah. Used to be.
Okay,
I don't have
you
a
guys
problem
are
with
right.
it. You can't pass the cert without having the work experience. You don't just pick up a welder and do it. The certification.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right, Dean Pelletier wants an OE2, has no license, has a letter from Rhode Island as an operator. This was Pfizer's stuff or subcontractor or whatever. What are your thoughts on that? Thanks.
Well, I think he could show us some school-related instruction because I think if he was down at Pfizer and this Gosling guy, they were going through Local 30, or they went through Jones Lang and LaSalle, or somebody that had a school-related instruction for this guy. I don't know why he doesn't. You don't just learn this stuff. You know, he worked 4,000 hours. He must have something he's not showing us. What do you think, Todd?
Well, he was at.
I agree. Let's
Should we
go.
ask her?
Yep.
Then,
Yes,
okay.
we should ask
He's
him for
approved.
documentation proving his related instruction that is that coincides with an OE2.
Right.
All right. So
He
We
may
need a
very well be
different-
at trade school, Brad. He just forgot to attach his diploma. I don't know.
sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay, reconsideration, Travis Townsend, Massachusetts, he wants a D1. He has a license, Rhode Island commercial contractor, a Mass RC, 5-year Mass apprenticeship completion, refrigeration, air conditioning, oil burners with local 537 JAC.
Well, he has a mass refrigeration contract license.
Yep,
What's he applying for? I gotta go back.
D1,
I would approve him.
Yeah. He took a STAR exam. Yeah, this guy's.
I mean, if he has a refrigeration contractor's license in Mass, you don't even get one until you get 10 or 15 ton systems.
Yep.
So he obviously is doing hardcore stuff.
okay, you got him approved.
All right. Thanks, Dad.
Now, the only question I have, Rich, does his license in Mass include gas?
No, probably not. He should be applying. He could apply for the D3 if that's the case. But if he's with local 537, it may have very well included all.
I know for a fact that included that.
Because it's apprenticeship training program approved by the state of Mass, he says here.
Okay, so you're comfortable, Todd?
Yeah, on that one, because I know that's that program, yes.
That's perfect. You have such insight. James Renshaw wants an S3.
Oh, God.
So he's been registered. This expires on 6/30/2022.
Why is he
Um,
sending
I-
my,
We interviewed him and his father, so what's being added here?
nothing?
Well, the confirmation that he did get registered in the apprenticeship program.
Oh.
And it started July 1st of 2021, and it will run through June 30th of 2022. So my suggestion is that we will deny him the application, and in June, when he completes his apprenticeship for that 1 year, we will approve him for the S3.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Hold on here. And that's
All right.
for apprenticeship is 2 years in duration, right?
4.
Right,
That certificate of good standing is something that I issue to contractors that expire every single year. That does not mean that his
Yeah.
apprenticeship ends at that point in time, by any means.
I agree.
He's only been on the books for 6 months. He got, all right, so
Right.
he's got 2 years of previous experience. He's got a year and a half left.
All right.
Okay,
So have
so-
him reapply in a year and a half and we'll approve him for the S4.
No, no need to apply in a year and a half, as if his employer complete his apprenticeship in a year and a half from now.
all right, so Todd, let me just go back a little bit.
Yeah,
He has the P1, okay?
okay,
And he's had for quite a while. He's
Yeah.
been working with his dad, who has a P1 and an S3, I believe. And the father wants to pull back and retire.
he was never
Whatever you
registered as under an S4 category until July.
I agree. I agree. I mean, this is guys that's been there. He's been trying to do it. He came to he can continue to use his father's license and still do the work. I'm sure he's been doing the bulk of the work. So whatever you think you guys would like to do.
I have to add something though. I'm sorry to interrupt. What I did was Isaiah, there was some sort of a mishap. Isaiah sent me an email with 3 attachments, and I gave you the 3 attachments, but I didn't do what I normally do. I normally copy and paste the body of the email itself, which oftentimes has some good information. So the email from Isaiah, when he mailed in the 3 documents that I labeled Renshaw to, he says, "Hi Karen, see attached and below. We had a misunderstanding in our office and replaced Renshaw Construction with Renshaw Plumbing and Heating. This automatically and incorrectly termed James Renshaw from the apprenticeship program. Both companies use the same address, and owner of Renshaw Plumbing, Heating and Cooling reported his company to us acquiring Renshaw Construction. We now know that these have remained 2 separate companies, and James Renshaw is registered with Renshaw Construction as an S4 apprentice. Sorry for any confusion."
Okay.
I don't know, didn't make much sense to me, but that seems like it was kind of important, and I just realized I didn't put it with the, with the attachments.
That doesn't
So,
change,
thank you, Karen.
does not change the scope that he still has a year and a half left.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
So
All right, I just wanted to make sure.
So, he's taken, he has a P1, so he gets half credit for the education to go for the S4 because he already, by virtue of a plumbing license, half the courses are the same as the S4. I mean, we don't know if he signed up for any school-related instruction. So are we gonna, he must complete the S4 apprenticeship program,
Yeah.
and then once he passes the S4 exam, we consider based upon a hardship waiving the 2-year waiting period?
He'll get through his S4 apprenticeship first.
Right. What do you think, Bob?
Okay, so he gets, well, just want to make sure that, Todd is on something here. So the S4 program is how many years?
4
2 years?
4 years.
Okay.
He got
And
2
an
years of credit
S2
towards that 4. He got 2 years of credit towards that 4 years because of his education part.
Yeah.
He's been registered for 6 months. He's got a year and a half left.
So if he completes the 1.5-year apprenticeship program, he can sit for the S4 exam,
Yep.
and then he may apply before the board for a hardship waiver up to 2 years based upon his father's health.
All right, I can live with that. Todd, are you comfortable with that?
Yep. Not that I'm comfortable with it.
Alrighty.
It's not that I'm comfortable with it. That's state law.
All right, so he's denied. Thank you. All right, Derek Saxon is a repeat. He still wants to go for his S2. I believe that we denied him that. And the problem with him, all he's done is taken the OE2 classes.
Yeah, but it says here, he wants to switch it to the D2 from the S2.
Correct. Correct. But is it a D2? Should it be a D4? Because he's
Well,
working big.
This is the one where I needed the curriculum from Local 30.
Yeah.
They actually said,
Karen, isn't that what he sent us?
What was your question? I was reading.
Well, this is the Local 30 issue, and I thought, what's his name, Broadwick, emailed you or sent you the content areas of their program so we could take a look at it.
Yeah, he
they
did.
did. It's in the.
Yeah, it got
Oh,
sent
yeah.
it got sent over to you. There's an email that says,
I don't see it.
well, you got Saxon 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's Saxon 3. It's 45 pages.
Hang on. Saxon 3, I don't have that. Let me see. Oh, I got Saxon 1 and 2, so it must be the next email.
Yep.
I probably had to go to the next one. Yeah.
All right, hang on. I'm a little, oh yeah, 3 and 4, good gravy. Oh, wow. So does this have propane in it? Well, it probably does, actually. Oil heat, gas heat. Oh, it does have gas heat, Bob.
Yeah, but it only consists of 441 total hours is what he's got.
But he only wants the DE2 at this point, which is 288.
Correct.
Yeah, well, let's not split hairs on the educational requirements. The educational requirements are not a steadfast 144 hours. Federal regulation stipulates may be a minimum threshold of 144, not a positive one. This is subject to collective bargaining. Therefore, related instruction is related instruction under my regulations. It doesn't state that for any purposes for licensure in the state of Connecticut, it shall be no less than 144 hours. I want to be very clear about that.
Well, this
Okay.
guy has plenty of hours.
Yep.
And he has commercial building cooling systems, HVAC fundamentals. I think it has a lot of education in here for a D2.
So Bob, for clarification on the folks that come out of Local 30, by seeing this syllabus, knowing the program, it is from a director of the apprenticeship standpoint, an individual would be, in my opinion, eligible for an OE2 and no more than a D2 at any given point. I don't think that I would really be comfortable in an S2 unless they have any ancillary experience outside of doing this. Because
I agree.
if they're working in a building operating the big boilers and the big chillers, I get that. But also part of their work will be outside of the plant, probably taking care of small splits and small rooftops, so on and so forth. So it's really, there's no question in my mind, the possibilities of the scope of D2, but S, I would be maybe amenable to an S4 possibility, but probably not in the S2 category. Does that sound fair to you?
All more than fair, Todd. I have concerns with the OE2 program and people thinking that they can get to an S2. It's not the same.
I share that same sentiment. I absolutely share that same sentiment. I think D is a cutoff. S4 possibly, depending on scope of what they did while they were in the employ, as in under this organization. If they're out there changing stream traps and vacuum vapor condensate systems and so on and so forth, as part of plant operations, that might be something to consider for S4. But I think maybe we make a recommendation to Department of Consumer Protection for licensure purposes is anybody that comes out of this program with a certificate of completion of apprenticeship would be eligible for Not either or, but my opinion, both OE2 and D2.
Yeah.
And to tag,
And again,
go ahead, Ben.
um,
Sorry, go.
Well-
and again, Todd, I think Connecticut has the highest requirements, and we provide a lot more clarity than some of the other stuff from other states that are coming in. So, I have no problem with him doing the D2, and after that, then additional information and experience would be required and documentation associated with it. So, so he's changed his application from an S2 to a D2, and we can approve him for that. Anybody have a problem with that?
Nope.
For a D2, he's approved.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. All
And
right.
just for
I guess we're all set.
Hold
just for
on, Karen
future
has something to
purposes,
say.
Steve, I'm trying to talk as quickly as I can. It looks like, so what we just did was we just kind of said, well, maybe we can just make it a automatic thing that if they come from this program and they apply for a D2, maybe we should do something going forward with that. I'm just saying that if that gets dropped right now, then that will never happen, which will waste time in the future. So I will make a note that maybe at some point we can discuss this, because this will save time rather than going, because this happens often, that if they have this program, they go for the D2 instead of rehashing it. And also, it looks like Steve Broderick is trying to get to that point. He's actually asking in this email, when you get time, can we arrange a meeting with Todd Birch, yada, yada. He CC'd Richard. So I'm just saying it might be something that we can follow up on in order to help us streamline, to say, in this scenario, they can go right for the D2.
Bob,
And
you
I
want to
know
run that
nobody
by
can
your
time.
board, or you just want to make a decision that that's how we're going? It's up to you.
No, I'm not making that decision without my board.
Fair
And
enough.
also too, Karen, you need, just to start, for a starter with this local 30, I think you need to send him or advise him to take a look at the curriculums, you know, for our licensed categories. That way they will know and have it, you know, the S2 or whatever.
Right. I'm just addressing his email to me that he wants to meet with you guys and talk about this. That's all. You know. Just,
Yeah. But I'm thinking if he had the information beforehand, he could look at it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And I know, I mean,
All
I'll
right.
just make note of that and I'll email later. But what I need to know for Renshaw, he must complete the S4 apprenticeship. What again does he need to do for the after he completes the S4 apprenticeship and he obtains the S4, he can send in another application for the S3 and he will be automatically approved?
Nothing. When he completes the S4 apprenticeship program, he can be approved to sit for the S4. When he passes that exam, he could reapply to the board for the S3 and ask for a waiver of the 2-year waiting period based upon the hardship of his father's health.
So we're just saying he can reapply for the S3. We're not saying he's going to be automatically approved for the S3. We're saying he's welcome to reapply for the S3.
Once he passes the S4,
okay,
he can reapply for the S3 and attach a letter explaining the hardship of his father's health, and the working group will consider waiving the 2-year waiting period.
Consider. There's just a big difference between automatic and will consider. Okay, I got it. All right.
All right. Another quick question for everybody. You know, when we get people that have other out-of-state licenses, is anybody aware if they are just automatically issued, or are they having to take a test and an exam?
Well, that's why we got to get we asked the applicants to send in a copy of the law of how the license is obtained.
Okay, and does PSI do any other testing in any other states like they do in Connecticut?
Yeah.
Well, they do, but they don't have copies of the laws or whatever. They just go by the state's parameters as to who can be approved.
Are the exams similar to Connecticut? I'm just trying to find out, because if PSI exam is used in Connecticut and it's used in New Jersey, then we have credibility.
Well, we'll have to look into that, but.
And what would be really cool is if we could get somebody, whether a temp or a legal person or staff or something, somebody could be busy for like 3 months and just take all of this, take the equivalency, look at all these other states and just draw it up, and it would save so much time here. But that's, I guess, can't happen. So we're here over and over again going, what's for New Jersey? What's for this? What's for that one? When if we just had the manpower, which is unfortunate, it could just be made so much easier, because if we had one person to focus on just doing this one project, it would be awesome.
You're right, Karen, and it'd be nice if we had that luxury or the financial luxury, but you're doing a great job. Thank you, Richard. Thank you
And
for
it
your
would be
input.
nice if I
Todd?
had a beach house in the Bahamas.
Okay,
I
I gotta
understand
go
that. I
because
really
I
get
got
it.
another meeting.
All right, bye.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.